G'day viewers, welcome to the end of another week that brings us time once more to Totally Fucked Up Friday, where we bring you stories from around the world that prove the world really is totally fucked up.
Really, truly.
Really, truly. And a big one that a lot of people wanted me to talk about this week is the growing trend of employers or potential employers insisting that people applying for a job hand over their Facebook username and password so people can suss them out.
Is that real?
That is really, really real. It's happening more and more often. And I have to admit, my first advice is don't be that desperate for a job. If it's basically like saying, you can have a job here if we can put a video camera in your bedroom. What?
You don't really want my Facebook password, do you? Really?
What am I going to discover?
Nothing. A bit.
What's your Facebook password?
You won't like it.
I don't like anything about dealing with you.
It's angry as a poopy head. No, that one doesn't work anymore. No, it's angry's wee wee is blocked up with poop. No, that one doesn't work anymore either. That's right, it is. He beats me when no one's looking.
That would work.
Yeah.
That's not even a secret.
No.
So yeah, it does sort of behoove you to the second thing, besides not being desperate enough to have to take a job where someone puts that limits on you, really think about what you post on Facebook. I tell people over and over again, don't post stuff online that you think people won't see. No matter where you put it, it's a really public thing. I always say, I used to get this working with Mistress M. People would say, should we do the sexy naughty time videos? Only if you want your grandmother to see them. Because just imagine the person you least want to see what you put online and take it for granted they will see it.
Right, okay? And if you've got a goat, pixelate the face.
Of the goat, it's only fair.
Yeah.
Because the goat can't consent. Yeah, and also don't do things like these two chav mums in England who got into a fight on Facebook, slagging each other about who wasn't being invited to a party.
And that makes me angry too. I don't get invited to parties all the time, right? And they say, Adrian, you can't... Yeah, well, they say, Adzi, you can't go to a party because you're stupid with things in your brain. And I go, I want to go. And they go, well, we're having it somewhere where it's written down and you can't read it.
Not that we don't let him read it. He's dyslexic. Once we commit stuff to writing, it's a secret and he never knows. But these women, they publicly posted stuff. They're having this fight. It wasn't even about you didn't invite me to the party. It was about a third party that wasn't getting invited. It's like, I'll have you. And one of them, actually challenged, writes this on Facebook, on a public forum, says, we'll sort this out. You better bring your tomahawk, AK-47 and knife along. It's like, don't write that sort of thing on Facebook. And all these stories. There's a movie out called Project X where these kids have a wild, wacky party. You know, it gets out of control. And so all the kids are going, yeah, I'll do that. I'll organise it on Facebook. Wrong! Wrong! Two reasons that's wrong, right? One, the cops will find out that you're publicly saying you're about to break the law with your illegal party.
Hang on. Do the cops have Facebook?
Apparently so.
That's just crazy talk.
Yeah, and two, it's just a fuck thing to do. Don't go breaking into people's houses and having illegal parties and fucking things up. What sort of little dicks are you? Jesus, and you've got it on Facebook. Your whole history, you're going for a job interview 10 years into the future, and it's like, oh wait, you're that little fuckhead who had the big party and trashed someone's house and caused me yeah, we don't trust you. You're not getting a job.
What?
Ever.
Really?
Yeah.
Truly?
So, this shit will stick with you. So, yeah, just don't take a job with someone who reckons they should have access to your Facebook. But second, just assume they will and stop posting dumb shit on Facebook.
Yeah. Just assume anything that you've ever put on a computer is there forever.
Ever. And governments will have access to it. Like the latest round of this fucking government and big companies trying to run things. I've talked about this before. The TPPs, like the latest version of ACTA, the Trans-Pacific Partnership. International Trade Agreement being negotiated in secret.
What do you mean in secret?
In that not telling you when, where, who. Now, I mentioned this before, I was going to go along to the last session of this, which was in Melbourne, in Australia, a little while ago. But it clashed with me being in the UK and I couldn't go, and I'm really disappointed because I might have found stuff out. Because when one group in Australia filed a Freedom of Information request with the government about tell us what was discussed at this meeting, because it's a government thing and you're supposed to tell us, and the government said, here's the report, almost completely redacted, almost completely blacked out, and their reasoning was, at this stage, if this got out in the public, it would, interfere with the negotiations and stop us from having this secret plan behind closed doors. And honestly, we think the public knowing what we're doing in secret, that's not good for the public.
It's not good for the public.
Who wants to know?
Who wants to know what governments are doing? I like the idea of governments coming into my home through my media and doing things to my bottom.
Yep. Surprise law!
Whoa, hello, surprise law. Whoa, hello, I'm in jail for something that I didn't know. Whoa, good morning.
Yeah.
Hello.
My rights.
My rights. So you can just call me Alice and I'll smash my own teeth out. Okay.
Yeah. So I will try and get in contact with the people that I was going to work with in discovering about this TPP, and I will try to bring you more. Like I said, when the government is saying, we don't even have a list of who was at it, because there was no creators, there was no artists, there was no consumer representatives, it was all industry representatives, copyright holder. It's just like, wait, you can't tell us who was there? You're either completely incompetent to the point you should be fired, or you're just fucking lying, you should also be fired. So, hey, everyone in the government involved in this plan, just fire yourself, okay?
Flip a coin.
That's the only thing.
Flip
just
a coin and
fire
decide why to
yourself.
fire yourself. Just go, it's heads, I'm a dickhead, I'm fired. Hang on, no, I'm a lying prick. Tails.
Yeah. And look, I'm just going to round out with another story. Proof it's not just governments who are dickheads and liars and crazy. Another story from Australia, from Queensland. Australia's Florida. Americans love it when I get crazy stories from Florida. Australians love crazy stories that seem to come from Queensland.
Queensland is not necessarily a place you go when you're crazy. It just happens to be in the water.
Yeah, it's sort of like, you don't have to be crazy to live in Queensland, but it's certainly popular. Yeah.
Yeah, anyway.
So, this guy's in court on charges of cultivating massive amounts of marijuana, like apparently with a street value of about $69 million.
So it wasn't kilograms, was it?
No. It was like somewhere, I think they were saying 6 tons of cultivated marijuana and another tens of thousands of plants.
20,000 plants ready to go.
Right.
6 tons in bales.
So, he's gone with the not guilty plea.
Why would he be guilty?
Hey.
Why would he be guilty? A man's doing some horticulture.
Yep. But when he's in court, he changed his plea to guilty. Because if he's saying he can do it, if he's saying he did it, then he can put in a statement as to why he did it. And he did it for a good cause. It's a good cause. What good cause could possibly justify you tons of marijuana?
Catching Coney?
Solving world hunger, maybe.
Giving jobs to little kids?
Not quite. What he said is he wanted to raise the money to combat abortion. He's saying, like, abortion is the worst thing ever.
Of course.
And he wanted millions of dollars to saturate the media with his campaign. And he considers himself uniquely placed to understand how bad abortion is because he remembers his time in the womb.
See, that's the guy you want. Cultivating millions of dollars worth of marijuana in bales outside, and you also want him treating his stepchildren as slaves.
Yeah, the cops are saying there's evidence he was slave labouring his stepkids, forced labour, rather than sending them to school, forcing them to sow the crops and reap the crops.
School with the mind pollution of mathematics.
And the sick fuck apparently killed the kids' pets as a warning. You're next if you tell anyone about what's happening here.
So tote that barge, chip that cotton or marijuana, and then pack it neatly in plastic.
This is like the most elaborate setup for an insanity plea I think I've ever heard.
Wouldn't you just bronze up and start hurting yourself? Oh, clearly I'm nuts.
Yeah. No, he said, what's that, Your Honour? I couldn't hear you. I'm too busy defecating into my hand and rubbing it into my cheeks.
Yay.
That's how I get my youthful, healthy glow, don't you know?
Slip, slop, slap.